So, did Gavin Newsom just outplay Donald Trump? And is MAGA losing its mind over it? Yeah, you heard that right. The governor of California is trolling the president of the United States so hard that conservative America is pulling its collective hair out. And here's the kicker. Every time they rage tweet about it, they accidentally make him louder. All right, guys, let's dive in. All right, everybody, welcome back to the baseline. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, let's break this down. No warm up, no hi, no welcome to the channel. Let's just go straight to the chaos, because imagine this. For years, Trump perfected the art of humiliation politics, mocking opponents, giving them nicknames that really stuck, and turning debates into WWE promos. But now there's a guy who not only understands the game, he might be better at it. And MAGA, they're not just mad, they're kind of broken over it. So Gavin Newsom and his team figured out something that every Democrat for the last decade missed. You don't fight fire with water. You fight fire with a flamethrower. And here's how he's doing it. He's staging mock cabinet meetings, holding satirical press conferences, and casually exposing crime stats that Fox News doesn't want their viewers to know. And Louisiana, murder rate 4 times higher than California. Mississippi, 180% higher than Los Angeles. And LA has more than triple the population. So let that sink in for a moment. These aren't random stats. These are straight from the FBI crime databases. Numbers Fox could flash on a screen tomorrow if they wanted to, but they won't, and they don't. So if you look at Louisiana versus California, the murder rates are insane, 4 times more. Now, if you're still here, you guys are my people. So hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, guys, because what's coming next, it's crazy, right? And here's where the trolling turns from funny to surgical. Newsom calls a press conference. He walks up to the podium, stone-faced, almost presidential. And behind him, a lineup of people posed, just like Trump's old cabinet announcements. And boom, the internet explodes, right? Mike Johnson's on Fox News the next day, scrambling. Vance, he goes full Shakespearean tragedy and actually says on air, "You can't mimic the king. You can't mimic the master." Well, did you catch that? The master? This isn't politics. This is some weird feudal cosplay. And picture J.D. Vance in medieval armor saying, "Your Majesty, may I fetch you a Diet Coke?" The guy's nuts, man. But when J.D. Vance is bowing, Trump is sitting on a Game of Thrones, like Iron Throne made of gold golf clubs. And this is where Newsom's genius really shines out, because every time they respond, they're not just shutting him down, they're amplifying him. They're turning his trolling into headlines, into trending clips, into memes shared by the very independents they need to win. So let's talk about the numbers, because this part matters, right? Because Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, these states aren't just slightly worse than California. They are statistically off the charts in terms of violent crime. Louisiana's violent crime rate, nearly 4 times the rate of California. Mississippi's is 180% higher than Los Angeles. And even Texas, the model red state, is worse than California on a per capita violent crime basis. Now, you won't hear that on a conservative channel of Fox News, because reality doesn't get ratings. You know, it's these crazy things that do. Now, here's where the tone flips, because when Newsom isn't mocking these guys, he's dead serious on other points. And this is the same Donald Trump who tried to overturn an election, the same guy who called Georgia officials begging for 11,000 votes, the same guy who sent his supporters to the Capitol while casually tweeting about loving them as they chanted about hanging his vice president. Now, yet MAGA calls him the king, their master. And the reality check is this: that's not patriotism, that's servitude. That's what happens when a movement stops being political and starts being a cult. And you can be for and against Trump, for and against a Democrat or Gavin Newsom. It's not about being a part of a team. It's just what it was. Now, if you ever hear the phrase loyalty over truth, and that's the dangerous part about all this, right? Because every time J.D. Vance or Mike Johnson gets up and parrots that master nonsense, it normalizes this idea that Trump isn't just a candidate. He's some kind of monarch. Now, that's how democracies crumble. Not overnight, but slowly, quietly, while everyone's laughing at the memes, scary things are happening behind the scenes, right? Now, let's pull back the curtain just a little bit, because this isn't just trolling. This is information warfare. Every tweet, every perfectly timed press conference, every oops, did I say that out loud moment is designed to control the narrative. It's the same playbook Trump used in 2016. Own the conversation, dominate the airtime, drown out everybody else. But here's the difference. Trump's stick is kind of getting old. It's tired. The nicknames, they don't land the same. The rallies, they don't feel more like reruns. You know, they feel more like reruns, right? Meanwhile, Newsom is doing what Trump did best. But if we're talking 2025 now, you know, he's using humor, data, and sharp visuals to control a conversation. And guess what? Seems to be working. Polling among independents are moving. Younger voters sharing clips nonstop. Even moderates who don't like Newsom are admitting, okay, that was pretty good. And this is where satire becomes powerful, because you might forget a boring policy speech, but you never forget a perfectly timed roast. So it's not just about the laughs, right? Every time Newsom lands one of these punches, it forces a conversation onto uncomfortable ground for Republicans. Because if you think about it, they've been spending, years branding California as some lawless wasteland. Then they get called out live with hard FBI data that shows their own states are more dangerous. And suddenly, they're the ones stuttering, the ones explaining, the ones that have to defend things. And that's what real messaging power looks like. And the rest of the Democratic Party just seems to miss on its face. But you make an opponent explain why reality doesn't match their script. And look, I'm not saying Newsom is flawless. He's got tons of flaws. He's got plenty of critics. But in this specific battle, he's holding the playbook. And Trump's team is just trying to catch up. Now, what do you think? Should Newsom keep trolling or start pivoting to serious-only messaging? Drop it in the comment section below. I read every one of them. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on it. Now, as we continue this, here's where it gets real, because Trump, he's not just firing off Truth Social rants in response. Behind the chaos, behind the memes, behind the master worship, he's planning, he's building an infrastructure for chaos, not just for 2026, not just for 2028, but for every election after that. Friendly judges, state-level elections, rule changes, local loyalists in key roles. So yeah, laugh at the trolling, it's fun. Enjoy the memes, but understand this thing, right? Behind every punchline is a warning. If you think this week was wild, just wait, because stick with me. What's coming next in these next episodes, it's going to make this look like a warm-up act. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me on the baseline, and we'll look forward to catching you on the next round. All right, cheers, everybody.